to the Festival of Storytellers.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be on right now. It's been a couple of weeks of excitement, getting prepared, and I've done a lot of things in my life, but this has got to be close to the top.
Thank you, and Reader's Magnet, and thank you, John, for putting this forth and taking the chance on us authors in presenting this out to the world.
I've enjoyed this immensely, Joanne.
Ellie, so have I. Thank you for who you are, and thank you, Reader's Magnet. You all are beautiful, and you've worked so very hard, and we are blessed.
We are.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process, because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers. We thank Reader's Magnet and everybody that's involved. I love Reader's Magnet. They say, we share your stories with the world.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me here at the Reader's Magnet Festival of Storytellers. Thank you so much. I'd like to pick up, where I left off this morning in this morning's sessions. And those of you who didn't get to join in live and watch, you guys can always go back to my booth and, watch all the replays. I was talking earlier this morning about a lot of the things that I went through and the school and the Boys and Girls Club that I was at. Pretty much talked a lot about food too as well, and nutrition in the gym. I got a lot of great questions asked too as well. So I do want to promote right now also the raffle that I'm doing, the sweepstakes. I do want to let you guys know that you can turn in, if you type these words, enter sweepstakes. Type that in, email that to me. The email address is on there. You will win, and I will announce the winner on November the 18th. You will win this book. And of course, you type in your first name and last name as well. All the instructions are there. November 18th, I announce the winner. The deadline is on November the 17th. You will also get this nice tumbler. Has a lot of gold bling bling on there, if you can see it. And there's also, oops, wrong way, front cover of, like, pretty much the front cover of my book. So yeah, just go ahead and join in, sign up, and let's see who the winner is on the 18th. And also don't forget that I do still have the GoFundMe. So we are trying to do, there is a film coming soon for my book, a book to screen. So you guys can always look at this, search it up, or if not, you can always search under Angelica Galbraith. And I would greatly, greatly appreciate it if you guys can donate, any amount, anything counts, $5, $10, it doesn't matter. Everything adds up in the end. It's all going for the film. That film is going to inspire a lot of people. It is heartwarming. It is pretty much advocating child abuse and whatnot. So there's a lot of things that I went through. So besides that, like I mentioned earlier, besides my book talks about abuse, and besides the abuse and everything else that I went through, there was tragedies too that took place, in my life. And one of them was when I was in middle school. I met this boy, and actually I met him a little later, but when I saw him, when you're in middle school, you're like, you fall in love with somebody, or you think you do. we think we know about love at that time. So I was attending the Boys and Girls Club. I showed this picture earlier. So the Boys and Girls Club, pretty much the middle school that I attended was basically on this side of the building and the parking lot. And it wasn't a big school, it was pretty small. So a bunch of my friends went there, my best friends. And this boy that I would see at school, there was a lot of girls that liked him and stuff like that. And, I was like head over heels. And we would go to the Boys and Girls Club at times after school. That was like the spot to go hang out. It was the spot where a lot of parents would have their kids go from the school to there, kind of like a daycare type thing. But of course, we were in middle school, we weren't babies. But on Saturdays, they would have dances, and the dances, I think they started like at 8 o'clock or something like that until 12 midnight or 1 in the morning. And back then, when I was younger, you didn't really hear about violence around here. You didn't hear about, and if there was, it was, a fist fight. Somebody fought at a park, or, there was no such thing as hearing about drive-bys or somebody got shot here and there, kind of like now that it's all over the news and it's became the norm, which is pretty sad, for this, for our world, and especially our kids, and if you have grandkids. So back then we were able to walk home late at night, which wasn't too far, but it wasn't too close either. We were able to walk home and everything was fine. Like, we didn't have to worry about anything, and you wouldn't hear about abductions and stuff like that, not around here. So we would go to the dances, and I remember one particular night I got invited to go, and that same guy from the school, he was there, and he had a girlfriend at the time. Well, so I thought it was his girlfriend. He ended up saying it wasn't his girlfriend. So anyways, met his sister. We got along really good. I didn't know it was his sister. Honestly, for a while, I thought it was his girlfriend. It turned out to be his sister. And I'm like, whoa. So he asked me to dance. Well, really, he didn't even ask me. He just grabbed my hand and started, dragging me to the dance floor. Now, when I walked in there, the music they were playing was not music that I was used to. The music that I was used to listening at home, it was, a little bit of everything. I just wouldn't listen to like country, but I pretty much listened to everything that my brothers did. Whatever they listened to, I did. I was the only girl, so even if they played basketball, baseball, whatever, catch, I was trying to do those things too as well. I wanted to do everything that my little brothers did. So we were there, and he took me out to the dance floor, and the music was like, I walked in there, and it kind of felt like the movie Dirty Dancing, when Patrick Swayze's there dancing all dirty with the other girl, and then you see Baby walk in with that one guy, and it's like, oh my God, she freaks out because everybody's dancing so provocative, and she wasn't used to that because of how she was raised. Crazy thing is, the way we were raised, and considering the fact of my family and how we were and all that, you would have thought that maybe I would have been used to that type of music. But at that age, I really wasn't. I wouldn't play with dollies and stuff like that either, but I wasn't at that point. I wasn't really screwing up, because I made bad choices in my life too. So we start dancing, and I'm literally there, like standing, not knowing what the heck to do, how to move or anything. And he's looking at me, and it's funny because it was exactly like the scene of Patrick Swayze where he's dancing with her and she's standing there like, what do I do? So it was like that. And then I just busted out laughing hard. So from there, he asked to walk us home. It was me and my friends. We walk home, get home. I guess he walked back to his house, which he lived like right down the street from the Boys and Girls Club and the school. It wasn't even far. And when we go to school that Sunday, because that was a Saturday, that Sunday we went to school, he went up to me, and I was at my locker, and started asking me, that if he could walk me home and to meet him behind the school. And it just went from there. So the girl that I thought that he was with, that I thought was that ended up being his sister, there was another girl, and then she wanted to fight with me or whatever, because she said that I was dancing with him and I don't know what. And it's just crazy. I wrote about it in the book. Well, this guy, we ended up becoming a couple. I was scared crazy because he invited me to the dance again. I went. This time he bought me a soda. I was young. I was like, I don't remember if I was 12 or 13. And it's crazy because at that point, my mom and my stepfather, we were at that point already where the abuse already had been going on for years. He was my I guess you can say my boyfriend because he was my boyfriend at the time. He asked to be my boyfriend. He started asking me questions like if I had slept with anybody and just stuff like that. And I know this is personal, but it's leading somewhere. So I was like, no. But then I stayed quiet and I was like, well, I don't know how to answer that question. So he looked at me with a dazed look and kind of confused. And I didn't know what to say, so I freaked out. And the reason I say that is because at the age of 10, you know, we started, even before that, we started getting abused and stuff. But in my case, at the age of 10, that's when I was violated by my stepfather. And from there, it just kept going on and going on for a few years, you know, and nobody knew about it. You know, he threatened that he would kill my mother and my brothers and all kinds of stuff. So when I was asked that question, I was just like, I was stunned. And then at the same time, I just was like, my mind went blank and I didn't know how to answer. And then I said no. And then I said yes. And I didn't know what to answer because it's like, how do you answer a question like that when if you're young and you've been raped at a young age, you're living this fake life and you have stuff going on at home. You show up to school and at school you're pretty much being fake and you're painting this picture as if everything's okay at home when it's not. We were able to go places at night when we should have been in bed, you know, my brothers and I, because we had school the next day, but it wasn't like that at my house, you know, at home. It wasn't like that. It wasn't, oh, you better get up and go to school. And we pretty much did what we wanted to, but then we got in trouble and then all that was still going on too. So when that guy asked me that question, my boyfriend at the time asked me that question, it was just, I don't know, it was crazy. So that actually helped me with other children that have been abused as to don't even ask that question. Just don't even ask that question because that kind of, it confused me. It made me feel ashamed and it made me feel worse. It made me feel a lot of worse. And honestly, a lot of the depression started around that time. And the question that he asked me about the sexual question, if I had to have sex and this and that, that question just brought everything. And I started getting depressed. I started hanging around with the wrong crowd. He was hanging around with a gang and this and that. And then I started drinking and doing stuff and being out late. And then there was all these fights and I started fighting with girls and it just, my life just kind of went a little downhill after that. Well, back then, well, even now, a lot of the things that teenagers did back then is when it's somebody's birthday, the thing you do on the weekend was either the Boys and Girls Club or you went to a quinceañera or a Sweet 16, which is usually you rent a ballroom and you have your big party for the little girl and so on. So every time there was something like that going on, I would go with him and, you know, some of our other friends or people that were in the gang. So, and there was a lot of people that didn't like him. He was a very good looking, handsome guy. A lot of people didn't like him. And one day we went to this quinceañera and we were there. But I remember I was hanging around with him for a little bit, but then I started hanging around with some other girls that were there, friends that went to school with us, and even from another school, from Driscoll Middle School. And we were just having a blast. So this is the ballroom where a lot of the main places events would happen. This is called the Gabon Ballroom. Right now it looks run down. I didn't take this too long ago, but it's a ballroom and it's also a downstairs. It's also an area where you can rent like instruments. So, and upstairs on the second floor, it's where you have your Sweet 16, your quinceañera, you have your dress on and all that other stuff, you know, the typical Sweet 16 stuff. So we were there and I don't know, we went outside of course, because we couldn't drink inside, we would try to hide and stuff. And it was just like, whatever. And then I remember, if you look at the picture, where is it? Down this way, there's like a freeway that crosses, and underneath that freeway is just where everybody would park. Now that place is pretty much filled with a lot of homeless people that just hang out there. And a lot of the homeless people here in Corpus Christi, we don't have big areas. Like when I first went to Los Angeles and I saw a lot of the homeless out there. And then what was the name of that street? That one street, I forgot the name of the street, where all the homeless live and stuff, and people that are on drugs and stuff. Ours is not bad like that. It's just, you have your little sections, but we're not used to seeing big areas like that until like I went to LA, and I was like in awe, like, what? Oh my God. But then the population is so huge, and our city here is nowhere near as big as Los Angeles. So I was over there with some friends, and we were still drinking. And then all of a sudden I heard gunshots. And when I heard the gunshots, I heard people running and screaming, and I don't know what happened. And next thing you know, I look and he's on the floor. And then one of the best friends too, his name's Jerry, he was on the floor, and they both ended up passing away. And they were barely 14, I think. So that was very heartbreaking. And considering the fact that my depression already had started, it just added to it. And after that, I remember drinking so much that night that everything went black. Like, it's like I blacked out everything. And honestly, I don't even remember what happened after that. Until this day, I still don't remember. But that was pretty horrible. That was honestly one of the first times that, it was breaking news. There was a drive-by shooting and this and that, and you wouldn't hear about that around here. Now it's kind of like a normal thing, in this city. It's gone pretty bad. But back then it was like everybody was freaking out. And then I come to find out too that girls were saying that they were with him. And I guess every time that I would go home and he would stay out at night, he was going to see other girls. So I wasn't the only girl. And then I heard that he was sleeping with other girls. And I thought, okay, well, it's probably because he couldn't sleep with me. I didn't let it happen. I'm not that kind of girl. But at the same time, that's where I was confused, because I wasn't educated about child abuse and rape and all that other stuff. And I didn't know a lot about it. And the fact that, it was happening to me with my stepfather, it was just crazy. It just confused me. A lot of this stuff was confusing me, the sex part and stuff. So that kind of was a big deal for me. And for a long time, I resented men and didn't even want to be with anybody. And it was just like, I just had that disgusted look. And it changed me as a person in a bad way at that time. But then I overcame it. I had my son. And when I had my son, I pretty much strived to like work hard, and I didn't want to go through something like that again. I didn't want to hang around with the bad crowd and get all dumb and stupid and do drugs and stuff like that. So I ended up changing my life after that. But they had the funeral and stuff. And when I went to the funeral, I was so devastated that I couldn't even really walk in there. I walked in, I was there for a little bit. And then after that, I had to walk out. Like it was pretty hurtful. And it's sad, because if you think about it, he was just 14 years. We were young, we were teenagers. And now there's these kids killing kids, and even adults killing kids. And there's so much human trafficking. There's so much, racial things going on in this world where people are killing each other for nonsense, just ridiculous stuff. And kids too, they're getting younger and younger, and they're dying younger. And that is sad. It's really sad, and I've read the Bible plenty of times, and there's times where, I see that, and I see the weather, and I see this, and I hear about this and that. And it's like, okay, are we coming to the end? I don't think we are, but I mean, nobody ever knows, when the world's going to end, or if it's going to end. You have the issue of God, Jesus, and then you have the issue about, global warming and scientists and whatnot. So, sometimes those two together, you have your controversies over that, and people will literally get involved in that. And have things to say and have arguments and stuff. And I've seen that before live, and it can get pretty crazy. So I try not to argue the situation, at all, because I know some of it, but I don't want to get on anybody's bad side either. So it's like, okay. But anyways, so after that, things got a little bit better for me. Like I said, I had my son. I was at Roy Miller High School. And like I mentioned earlier, Eva Longoria, the celebrity, she went to school there. She was on, what was that show that I said? Desperate Housewives, and then all these other shows. And now she's on all the commercials of L'Oreal and stuff like that. So she's pretty huge, and we've had a few celebrities that have made it big out of here. And props to them. And it takes a lot of hard work. And I tell myself, like, oh my God, I can imagine the hard work as a celebrity. I feel like this here is a little bit of hard work, just prepping to be live and just trying to remember things to say, to talk about, and, having papers in front of you, or, sometimes I have Post-it notes and I have to read off of that. And as long as I have a subject line, I can pretty much know what I'm going to talk about. But sometimes I have a board behind, and it's the whole timeline and all that. And there's times that I go off subject and I'll go into something else, just depending on how I'm feeling. But a celebrity, that's totally different, an actor and an actress, because I can imagine some scripts are like super thick. It's like my movie script. It's huge. To me, it's huge. And I've been told like that's small. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I still have more to learn. Although I know how to write a script, a movie script now that I've learned. And thank you to Demetrius Novato for showing me, and the software too, Final Draft software. You can learn a lot on there, and it actually helps you become your own producer, and you can be your own director too as well. But I leave that up to him, because he's an awesome director too as well. And he's made some awesome movies coming out on Friday, the movie Friday with Chris Tucker, Ice Cube, and all them, and Samuel Jackson and whatnot. So he's done a lot of great work, hats off to him. So does anybody have any questions out there? Marco, what an inspiring story. Just read the synopsis of the book. I find it hard to cope with everything. If it happened to me, if I were in your case, how did you do it? I don't I don't know, just keep moving forward. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I had my dark moments too, where I was depressed and I would drink and cry, and I was constantly crying and feeling sorry for myself. And it was like, woe is me, until one time it was like, okay, you need to get your butt up. You need to do something. You can't be moping and crying around here. You have a son, you need to do something, you need to change, and nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. We are all sinners. But the good part about it is, if you keep moving forward, as long as you keep moving forward and you keep doing the right thing and you keep working hard and, do something with your life and you're happy, that's all that matters. That does. As far as what I went through back then, I don't know. I guess that's why I'm the strong woman that I am today. I'm pretty strong. I don't let things get to me as bad as I used to back then, where I wanted to retaliate and I had so much anger and I wanted to hurt somebody, and there was even a time that I didn't talk to my mom for a long time. I blamed her for a lot of things that happened to me. I felt like she wasn't the right mom, and why didn't she stop it if she had to know something? And, literally in the next room, I showed you guys the pictures of the apartment we grew up in, and it was literally an efficiency, and it was, 3, 4, 5 of us in that efficiency, and there was half of a wall. So, one bunk bed's on one side and then her bed on the other side. Her bedroom was the living room. So we were all crammed up around there. So she had to know something, and it was just, there's other stuff I could say too. It is just disgusting, but, it was just, I don't know. I had a lot of hate and a lot of anger, and I didn't talk to her for a long time. But now we get along great. We've gone to church together. We go have breakfast a lot in the mornings, here and there. There's times where she's came over here. I go to her house. She asks us for the grandbabies, and she's constantly buying them stuff. And she did apologize one time years ago. And she says she was sorry for everything that happened in the past. And that now she prays to God and that she hopes that everything's good with me and that she's proud of me and stuff like that. And that made me feel good. And I was very glad that she was able to clear that, because it made me feel a lot better, because I was holding a massive grudge against her. And it still kind of hurts me till this day. Sorry. It still kind of hurts me till this day, but I'm glad that we're on good terms. I'm really glad that we're on good terms. And my brothers, I love my brothers to death. You know, they're like my kids too. I would look out for them and they look out for me too. And especially my brother Jeffrey, he's like that too. He's like the peacemaker and the joker, where he likes to joke around, and you know, we're all supposed to get along and we're never supposed to fight, and we don't fight, you know, we're close, but that's just how he is. But thank you for that question. From Gladys on the live chat, how do we know, thank you Gladys, how do we know if we're doing the right thing? I don't know. That's kind of an odd question. I mean, I would think everybody knows if you're doing the right thing or not. I mean, if you follow your heart and it doesn't, I guess it depends on the situation and what it is you're trying to accomplish. Are you trying to accomplish something? Or are you going through something and you don't know if it's right or if it's wrong? Sometimes I need to know a little bit of detail, you know, when it comes to questions like that. I would think everybody knows what's right and what's wrong. We should all know what's right and what's wrong. And especially women, I have this thing where women, we feel that gut feeling inside. And most of the time when we feel that gut feeling inside, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't say it. Try not to think about it, whatever it is. But most of the time your gut is right. And it usually is. You know, I always say sometimes when I feel something in my gut, my stomach, oh God just punched me in the stomach and said, don't do that. And I used to tell my kids that too when they were little, and they would laugh. But I mean, it's true. So I don't know. Most of the time, you know, when we have that gut feeling or that intuition that we have, most of the time us women, we're right. But thank you for that question. Anybody else have questions before we go? And don't forget, guys, the sweepstakes. Email your first name and last name to my email address. It's there on the screen. Deadline is November 17th, and I will announce the winner on November the 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern. You will win a book, and of course, I will sign it over to you. And also, I will mail it. It doesn't matter where you live, I don't mind. And then you have this beautiful tumbler. Oh, there I go again. And it has my book cover on there on one side, and the rest is like a gold glitter. And also, I don't know, I forgot to mention too, if you follow me on Facebook, Angelica Galbraith, I also do raffles. For any ladies out there that are interested, I also do raffles. A lot of my raffles, it's to collect money for the film because we're so close. So there's Louis Vuitton bags in there. There's Kate Spade. There's a lot of cute stuff, cute stuff. So if you follow me, you guys want to buy raffle tickets, they're also $10 each ticket. And I do one basket per week, and I announce the winners on Thursdays as well. So also, with that being said, a reminder too, as well as tomorrow, Saturday, I will be a moderator, and I will be interviewing Elaine Gilliam, I believe is her last name. She wrote a very compelling book, A Web of Illness, Family Skeletons. I recommend everybody going online and reading the first few pages. What she wrote, those first few pages grabbed my attention big time. So I ended up purchasing the book. So I'm just waiting for it to come in so I can read the rest of it, because I really, really got into that book. I really want to read it. And I hope you guys are inspired by my book as well. And you guys love it. And I hope you guys buy it too. You guys are really supporting a great cause for me too in the film. Thank you. Bye.